Nikki Austin, absent. Rich Dupree, absent. Eric Ekdahl, absent. Terry Ellison, present. Teresa Keen,
Present.
Cheryl McGuire, absent. Dylan McGuire.
Here.
Phil Vosberg. Kim Wolf.
Present.
All right, so we have a quorum. We're going to move on to approval of the agenda. Need a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Terry, seconded by Tim to approve the agenda for the Board of Education meeting of July 11th, 2022. All those in favor by voice vote say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, we will move on to consent agenda. Does anybody want any of the items from the consent agenda removed and talked about them separately? All right, so then we have to approve the minutes from the June 27th, 2022 Board of Education meeting. We have approval of support staff retirement, Donna Vick from Parkside Elementary after 33 years. So certainly a huge debt of gratitude for her for 33 years of service to many, many kids in our schools. So we're very appreciative of Donna's service to our district and wish her well in her retirement. Approval of professional staff hiring, Emily Fry as the middle school social studies teacher, Kelly Wenger-Harms as the high school special education teacher, Sky Allen as a high school special education, Megan Rudolph as high school social studies. We have approval of community donations. A thank you to Howard and Marianne Johnson for a $20 donation to Backpack Buddies. So I'm looking for a motion to approve our consent agenda items.
So moved.
A motion by Terry and a second by Tim to approve the consent agenda items. All those in favor by voice vote say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. I don't see anybody here for public comment. And we don't have anything under new business, so we'll move on to old business. We have approval of the academic standards, so I will turn that over to Todd.
Yeah, this is an annual thing that we have to do at the first meeting in July is to acknowledge and approve the academic standards that we align our coursework to. So it's the same set of standards that was approved last year. I did provide links if the board was interested in looking at the standards, specifically the Wisconsin standards that we align most of our coursework to. The state is updating solely those standards and have most recently updated our ELA standards in 2020 when during COVID. And those were reviewed and used and looked at when we did our ELA curriculum work for elementary this year. So as groups go through the curriculum cycle, that's one of the things I'm having them do is just be more familiar with what updates are being made at the state level. That's it.
Any questions for Todd on the academic standards for the upcoming school year?
Is it the same as this past year?
Yep. And we're required to notify parents of the standards we adopt, which we'll put on the website, our district website. So they have access and are able to look at this information as well.
And all the links on the website under the, wherever it is, you can find standards, reference these two when parents look at them, right?
Yep.
Other questions or discussion? Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2022-2023 academic standards.
Second.
Motion by Tim and second by Terry to approve the 2022-2023 academic standards as presented by Todd Parity, Director of Curriculum Instruction. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we have to review discussion of building parent student handbook. All of those are under, on our board docs, and so I will turn that, who's gonna talk about those?
Well, since Fig is just getting rolling, it probably wouldn't be fair to him. I'll just say Todd and I had some exchanges with the principals today. There aren't any major changes that were made to the handbooks. I think every of the principals felt pretty comfortable with rolling forward the content that they'd used in the past. So they didn't identify anything that they felt was necessary to highlight for the board as we look for approval for these handbooks.
So I don't have that we are approving them, just reviewing, discussing them if there's questions. Is that right? So they'll come up, will they come up at the next meeting?
That makes sense, yeah.
Okay.
And we pulled, correct me if I'm wrong, we pulled like the COVID protocols outside of these, right?
We added, I believe, those in.
They're not.
They're not in, right,
Right.
yeah. And
That was a separate.
That's what, yeah, that's what.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So if there were changes, they would be in red, correct?
So it's just
Or is this the
I'm
final
not-
cop, is this the,
No, they're in red.
red, okay.
I think the only really, let's say, significant changes, I think at the elementary, they made some adjustments to their progressive discipline plan. I don't believe it's anything that is overly alarming or anything. It's just adjusting how they want to handle things going forward. But certainly, they all said that if there are questions, to please let them know, and they'll be available at the next meeting, should there be any necessary discussion.
Sounds good. So I'm hearing that any proposed changes been done in red, additions are in blue. If any of the board members have any questions between now and the next meeting, reach out to any of the building administrators.
Yep. And certainly, if there's anything that the board identifies now that you'd like us to take back, we'd be happy to do so. But again, all of our principals are open to any feedback that you have.
If I could just add to that, so I think it would be, if the board has questions, I'd like the questions to be directed toward me, and then I'll direct them to the administrators.
Thank you.
No, that
Sorry,
makes sense.
we're not used to operating with a superintendent here, so
Yes,
thanks for getting us
thank you.
back on track.
So if there's any questions on these, please direct them to Fig, and he will get them to the right person. Much appreciated. Thank you. Any other questions or discussions on the handbooks? Next, we have review discussion of high school activities handbook.
I would say I haven't had any conversation with Jeremy on the activities handbook. Todd, I don't know if he reached out to you about it at all. Certainly didn't make us aware of any substantial changes as I'm scrolling through right now. Not seeing anything. Cindy, are you aware of any changes that were made to that document?
No, Jeff stated that there weren't any changes other than dates.
Thank you. So I'd say we're probably in a similar situation, reviewing that, and then if the board has any feedback, obviously work through FIG, and he'll direct us as necessary how to resolve those issues.
Good. Does the board have any other discussion or questions at this time on the high school athletic activities handbook? Hearing none, we will move on to a summer school update.
Yeah, typically we come back in September, early October and give a full report on summer school once we've completed all the sessions. But Cindy and I talked at least a short update now that we're done with our June 3-week session. So just give a little bit of information. We ran 3 weeks in June again. We decided not to run the 6 weeks like we were prior to COVID. And part of that is giving staff a full July off because of staffing and being able to fill all the positions. So we ran 3 weeks again in June, which was successful. We had about 970 students that take advantage of some type of course or program, either at the middle school, high school, rec park, YMCA. So it was a good 3 weeks. We did survey parents, again, at the end of it, with 5 being very satisfied. We had 93% of parents respond to a 4 or 5 that they were very satisfied with their experience. I think they appreciate kids to be involved and engaged in something, and I think we offer some different, fun, engaging enrichment opportunities that kids, get to be a part of for a half a school day. And we feed them breakfast and lunch. So I think there are some parents that would like to see us run, a full summer of summer school, but it's finding that balance and making sure that we get enough staff and we give our staff a break because they're the ones that are doing the work. And we staff about 70 staff, support staff and teachers to be able to pull that off. So it does require a lot of help, and I'm very appreciative of all the staff that give up their 3 weeks almost right as soon as the school year ends to be able to be part of that half-day program. So very thankful for that. We have a August session that we ran last year, which is 2 weeks, first 2 weeks of August. Last year we did it coming off of kind of a weird year where we had some H kids that didn't participate in person at all that we invited to. And then obviously we had lots of gaps in learning because we had just an odd year that we wanted to get kids back in school early. So we're gonna run that again this year. We have less students registered this year than last, which I'm not surprised by. But we still have around 150 students, and those are K through 4th grade at the elementary that were recommended for remedial and math, reading support. And then we have a couple special ed groups, and then we have incoming 6th grade band that we did last year at the middle school that kind of helps onboard those students. So we'll be in every building except for Northside for Jumpstart for 2 weeks. But even finding staff for that Jumpstart program, I'm still looking for 1 or 2 people to fill a couple spots with that few students. So people like their August to prepare their classroom and get ready for the year, and aren't as willing to jump in and do, a half-day program at that point in the summer. So, and a lot of people take vacation in August right before they have to come back for in-service. But there'll be a couple nice groups at our elementaries, and a good start for those kids.
I'm sure you don't have numbers or anything, but rough estimate, how do you see that impacting our FTE compared to the past, do you think?
That's probably, when we come back, I'll have those numbers, a better idea of how it will impact our FTEs. It certainly helps, obviously, anytime we can have kids in front of us for any part of the day. But
I'm assuming it's less, I just didn't know if you thought it would be like 10 less, 20, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't sure.
Mr. Olson would be able to tell us probably right away on kind of like typically what we ran. I mean, we would run 1,000 students, maybe a little bit less for 6 weeks. prior to COVID. So now we're running, 1,000 for 3 and then not quite 200 for an additional 2 weeks. So we're still running less. But all of these numbers will help because we had that summer, we didn't run any
Right,
program at
for
all.
sure,
So
for sure.
it does help. I don't know the exact figures off the top of my head.
Just a comment, I thought everything was just super organized this year. It just was, everything ran smooth and, drop-offs and stuff like that just seemed to be very organized from my perspective.
Thank you for that. It doesn't always feel that way, I'll be honest, because we're running, the challenges, we've got kids that are 6 years old in this middle school all the way up, to 7th and 8th graders and kids that don't know this building, parents that don't know this building. So sometimes it can feel a little crazy, especially the first couple days, but kids are pretty good about quickly adapting, and I think it's a good experience for our kids to be part of the middle school. I think it helps their transition once they get there. And, Laura Wenger, who is my assistant, who does a lot of the background with Skyward and scheduling, she was brand new in January. And she had to take a lot of this on behind the scenes, and she did a great job for being brand new and never doing this before, because there's a lot of moving pieces. I mean, you're playing in a school year, district-wide, that last 3 weeks, with transportation and food service and, staffing and getting everything organized. So it's a lot of work, but I know parents really appreciate the opportunity to have kids involved in something.
Well, I know that was something we were working on too, right, is trying to get those, especially those first couple days. And it just seemed like to me, just watching.
Yeah, we had a really good turnout for open house. We added that last year, and then more people came this year, which was great because those parents that are concerned about their littles can bring them and show them around. And then we had the drop-off lane, and then we line the little kids up outside so they can meet their teachers. Like, those little things seem to help. It's not perfect, but it certainly helped with making parents feel better about dropping their kid off and leaving them. And in the survey, we asked, do they feel like their kid was supported and safe? And those results are really positive too.
I would echo what Tim said with a daughter who took some summer school classes. She thoroughly enjoyed every class she took, and you guys do a fantastic job, and the teachers were all amazing. So it was just a great positive experience.
Yep.
And my son can fish better than I do.
Fishing's a hit, I'm telling you.
It is a hit.
Any other discussion or comments on summer school? All right, hearing none, I have 5 minutes for the press, and I don't see anybody here. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't. I have any boardsmanship or administration things.
So there is one other thing that I was going to talk with the board about, and that was WASB governance and relational training. And this is something that I'm working with Fran Finkel with WASB to set up for us. So with the new superintendent and a board, it's good to just go back and look. Wisconsin Association of School Boards is the school board association. So they do trainings. I've had experience with them. As a matter of fact, the district I just left, they had one set up because I have there's 4 members that have never done any formal training. So my replacement in the district there, now he is doing that with them, and it's going to be very helpful. So one of the areas is governance, one of the areas is superintendent board relations, other areas is public and private communications among board members. So they're 90-minute sessions, and we'll be sending out a doodle with some schedules to try to figure out when we can get everybody to be able to come to those. So that doodle will be coming out soon, before the next board meeting.
Will they be in person or virtual?
In person, yep. So and that was the request we had, is that they would send somebody here to do it. Yep. Yep. So we don't travel, they do. So, more information to come on that. That's all I got.
Board of Education correspondence, I don't have anything from me, and I don't have anything from Rich. Committee reports, Dylan? Terry?
Nothing, but I do just want to add, welcome Fig to our fun little family. So glad to have you on board with us.
Thank you very much.
I have nothing, Tim.
I have nothing.
Phil? All right, and I don't see any liaison here, Fig or Joe or Todd, did you guys have anything from the district liaison?
Didn't receive any contact, so I'm assuming that no news is good news, so we should be good.
Sounds good. Now I have media questions and we don't have, and so I will entertain one final motion.
So move.
Second.
All right, at 5:20, I have a motion by Tim and a second by Terry to adjourn. All those in favor say, by voice vote, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. I, again, motion